Hey everybody, it's Ray from Dinner and a Game. Thank you all so much for coming in and joining us on this beautiful Friday evening. We have our compatriots at the Lab Experiments in Gaming who are going to be running a very special event. We are actually doing a live play of Fall of Magic with Fall of Magic's creator Ross Cowman, who's right there, and he's been helping us discover completely new ideas and expressions within Fall of Magic, and it has been an amazing journey. We cannot thank him enough for having lent his support to this. And
I think you can't thank me enough.
okay, well, we'll
We can
try.
try.
We will try to figure out how we can make the thanking more comfortable, I guess. Okay, so but
Or less. I'm
or
fine
less
either way.
comfortable either way. What's your safe word, Ross? So we're gonna go ahead and get to the game in just a moment. I'm still having a few technical issues on my end with my Roll20 session because it's going crazy. But we're also doing a couple of different things on Dinner and a Game. Number one, we are doing a live play of D&D 5e on Wednesday nights. And that is going very, very well. We just had a fairly chaotic last episode that I think everyone enjoyed. And on opposite Fridays to the lab taking over, we have dinner conversations. And this week we're going to be discussing something that's kind of, I wish it would go away, but it's become like a reoccurring plague in the gaming verse, and that is something that people like to call the Matt Mercer effect, which is players coming into TTRPGs with unrealistic expectations. But at this point, it's also GMs who are starting out in TTRPGs, or even those who have been, sorry about that, been very experienced in the TTRPG community, having unrealistic expectations of themselves and their abilities based on the fact that the shows like Critical Role and everything else have gotten so amazingly popular that it's nowhere near as severe, but it's just kind of in the same realm of the body image issues that are caused by media. GMs are now looking at shows like Dimension 20 and Critical Role and thinking they had to produce that for their daily games, for the normal games. And so we're going to be discussing all that next Friday. So please come and join us for that. But now we are here with the Lab Experiments in Gaming, and they are going to do an amazing job of spinning a tale for you this evening. And I am so happy once again to have the Lab on here, and I can't thank Shaz, Rob, Mutiny Kitty, and Marcy enough for letting us host them. And I am going to get the heck out of the way and let them get down to brass tacks.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you very much for hosting us at Dinner and a Game, Ray, and for having us here. This has just been such a fun time. Thank you very much for joining us for this unexpectedly extended play of Fall of Magic, Ross. This has been just such a delight, such a reframing of a way to play this game that I hadn't previously thought of. I had always kind of thought of this as a one-shot, and seeing its potential to really have time taken with it like this has I was already happy with this game as a really fancy one-shot, but knowing that it can be as campaign-worthy as you want it to be just adds so much to what I got by buying this game at all. And it's great. Thank you.
Yeah,
My name is Marcy, and you can find me on TikTok at Maverless. And I'd like to introduce everyone that is here tonight, starting with the creator of Fall of Magic, Ross Cowman.
Hey, everybody. My name is Ross Cowman. I own a games workshop in Olympia, Washington, called Heart of the Deernicorn, and I designed Fall of Magic and BFF, and I'm working right now on City of Winter, which is going to be a follow-up to Fall Magic. My pronouns are he and him, and I'm really excited to be here with y'all.
Yay!
Mutiny.
Hello. Just here vibing, having a good time. I'm Mutiny. My pronouns are they, them. I am Mutiny Kitty everywhere on the internet. And I love to play games and just be silly.
Yay!
Yay!
Rob.
Hi, I'm Rob.
also known as Blessed Calm, I guess, everywhere else. And pardon me. Oh, jeez. My pronouns are he, him. And I'm just super glad to be here. I absolutely love this game. It is my favorite game, and it has not ceased to amaze me, especially now that we know we're playing it in a different way, which is really super cool.
And Shaz.
Hello, my name is Shaz, and my pronouns are she, her, and I am thrilled to be playing more Fall of Magic and playing it especially with the creator himself. I am having the time of my life every time I am here every Friday, or every other Friday rather, and just looking forward to, doing another session where we're in a roller coaster of all the emotions.
Thank you very much, everyone, for just keeping on coming and putting this show together. I have so much fun. I forgot to say my pronouns are they, she, and I believe Ross likes to do our beginning check-in, so I'll let you lead.
Oh, cool. Yeah, let's just do a little check in. This is just a little place to kind of like say how you're feeling. Anything you feel like sharing. And my check-in is that I'm feeling good. Yeah, I've been I'm doing good. It's really sunny where I'm at right now. I'm on the West Coast, and I've gotten I went on a little my mom just had a birthday, and we went to Squim, Washington last week, and we're both vaxxed now. So we got to kind of hang out in Squim, which is this place known for its lavender in Western Washington. We just basically like hung out and cooked food and sat in a hot tub. So I had a good weekend.
That sounds really, really nice.
Yeah.
My check-in that I want to tell everyone, because you're going to see me doing this a lot, is that, well, the rest of you will know at least, the regulars of the lab, it very, very quickly went from spring to summer weather. And today I pulled out the air conditioning unit. Yeah. I pulled out the air conditioning unit and realized that I had stored it upside down, so I have to let it sit right side up for 24 hours and turn it on. It's warm. It's warm in here.
Yeah.
Showing your inner shine, your amazing sparkliness.
Yeah, great. That's what we'll call it.
The inner shine is coming outer shine.
My check-in is I think I'm doing pretty well. In the last few months, I've been struggling with some body image issues, and body dysmorphia is something that is in my life currently, being someone that is really into weightlifting, powerlifting, and a side effect of all the amazing things that those exercises bring with you. It's also the body dysmorphia. So I think it's important to kind of bring up because not a lot of people talk about it. And I just personally think that it's okay to be vulnerable and say that I was struggling with it. And today I am feeling much better. I'm taking the right steps to make myself mentally feel better and going out in the sun, enjoying what great things my body is capable of doing. So that is my check-in.
I love that. We love the process. We love the vulnerability. I also love having this insight into all of your characters, who are generally just old women of muscle.
What's that one TikTok? It's like, I don't want to be strong, like whatever. I want to be strong so I can fight bears in the forest.
And I'm glad that you're working on it and feeling better.
Thank you.
Yeah. My check-in is I'm just tired. I ran home, hopped in the shower, and then literally slid into my chair. That's why nothing's made behind me. Yeah, just a heck of a day. But also, yeah, I do want to say to Shaz that it is amazing that you were vulnerable, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
I'm just happy to
Second.
have such a safe space here, to share that and kind of speak on it. That's what's important. Just raise awareness, I guess, in a sense.
It's really important for people to hear other people. So, yeah, it's very cool of you.
Also, I don't know if this is Twitch safe, but you're the baddest bitch. I don't know.
Where's the beach?
Oh, okay.
It's yeah.
Getting
Watching
hotter
her do squats
now?
sometimes, like, damn.
My check-in. My new job is great. I love it. I love the money.
Yes.
It's very
Actually
exciting.
solves a lot of things.
I'm having to stop myself from buy all the things because I'm like, I don't know what this little buffer zone is. What bills are paid, bank account not empty? Buy all the things.
Oh no.
We'll see how that
Bye.
goes, but I'm very happy. And tomorrow is Eurovision, and if you don't know, it's one of my favorite things. I hyperfixate on it. And if you haven't seen Italy's entry this year, go look up Måneskin. I don't know how to pronounce it, but look up Italy's Eurovision entry. It slaps so hard. I hope they win. Okay, yay Italy.
I was gonna say, with all the extra money, you should buy like an extra 1,000 copies of Fall Magic.
I've already bought one of the new one. I'm trying to stop myself from buying another collar, but I don't think I will. I think I'm going to buy it.
One of each color.
The one that I have my eye on is actually black with rainbow stitching. It's a Pride one.
I like that.
So,
Nice.
It's coming up.
I hate to be the devil on your shoulder here, but it sounds like a right choice.
I mean, I've already messaged her and said I want this. If somebody gets to it before I break, let them have it, but I'm going to break.
Well, cool. I wanted to share a little something with y'all. So I've been revising the rules to Fall Magic for the revised edition, and I have a couple new things that I wrote, just kind of like inspired by like kind of playing with y'all, and then also just like I listened to a lot of Fall Magic. I listened to a lot of people play it over the years, and I've just kind of like, okay, maybe there's like different ways I need to sort of like talk about how to play games like this, just to make it more clear. So I'd like to just go ahead and read a couple read the new introduction, and then also kind of some new like just like good ideas. There's kind of like role-playing game tips. Is that cool? Would people be into hearing that?
Yes.
All right, cool.
That's very exciting.
Sweet. Okay, so this is the introduction. So this is kind of the part that you read at the beginning of the game. You sort of pass from the book and read this section out. And a couple of them are the same as previously, and then some of them are new. So here's the two new ones. So first is Tell the Story. Fall of Magic is a collaborative story game, and there are many ways to tell the story. We can talk casually, like in a conversation, narrate as authors, perform as actors, or mix several styles all at once. Do whatever feels natural, or challenge yourself to try something new. And this is the next new section, which is Talk About the Story. Each of us is both a writer in the writing room and a fan in the audience. Ask questions, discuss where you'd like a scene to go, a relationship between characters, or anything else that interests you about the story we're telling. And then the other three sections are the same. There's the kind of the think small advice, don't plan too far ahead. The part about it being social fantasy, and the safety in the X card tool, which for those just watching right now, we use a safety tool called the X card. And the way this works is it reminds us that each of us has the power to remove anything from the story that's making us feel uncomfortable or spoiling our fun. To do so, just tap, lift up the card or say, I'd like to X that. We'll find another way to tell the story. No questions asked. So those were the two little new bits of advice. And then I also revised the sort of good ideas, section, which is just like, just some things to think about, like when you're playing a scene, because there's lots of different ways that you can play these scenes, right? Of course, it starts with, it's always a good idea to begin with that description of where the scene takes place and worry about the story prompt later. And we do that because that's part of telling a story together, is giving people the information they need to be able to really engage with the scene. And part of that is, hey, where are we? What's going on right now? And it helps people start to think about to share, so it becomes a really shared imagined space. Use touch, smell, or taste in your description. Sometimes speak plainly. So like, the rose garden is huge and there's some kind of party going on, like a country fair with fiddlers and a pie contest. You can speak in first person. I pluck a single petal from the rose and hand it to you. You can speak in third person. Kabu waits till everyone has gone to bed, then sneaks into the private chamber that houses the scrying pool. Or you can speak out of character. Wait, why is Kabu maybe you ask somebody, hey, why is your character doing that? What are they going for? Ask someone else to take on the role of some kind of element of your scene, like a farmer's, a flock of birds, or the storm. Ask lots of questions. Sometimes ask for help. I have no idea what the menagerie is. Does anybody else have an idea? For example. Skip ahead to the part that interests you, or go back to something interesting we skipped. Revisit a scene and describe something new about it. Think really big. We arrived at Barleytown only to discover that the entire town has vanished. My mom did that in a game. It's just like, oh, it's not here. Surprisingly, it still works. Speak cinematically, so like kind of describing shots opening up, describing cuts to other parts of the scene. Keep secrets from characters, but not from players. You don't know this, but Elamura has actually been sent here to spy on the Magus for the Storm Queen. Something like that. Wonder about the magical reasoning of the world we've made. So if foxes can talk, can all animals talk? Stand up and deliver a monologue, which maybe be a little hard on camera, but we could work it out. So that's the new kind of advice section. I just want to share that with y'all.
Can I just take a second and say the fact that your mom would come up with that in a game puts a lot of you existing as you are just into perspective for me.
Yep.
Good job, Mom.
I can see that. Yeah, my mom goes hard.
That's amazing.
That is awesome.
I wanted to say like that one part that sticks with me is being able to ask questions and like definitions in a sense, because English isn't technically my first language, so there are some words where I don't know at all, or it's just kind of a quote unquote nerd word. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? Like, I am so lost right now, but try to be less afraid of asking those kind of questions. Like, could you define that for me? Like, and it feels a lot safer to play.
Yeah, learning to be less afraid of asking questions has been really nice, really helpful. It's been a good time because it really reduces the anxiety of like, I'm going to do something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
I think it's always really valuable when games include that kind of scaffolding for good play skills in the rule book directly to make sure that there's just a lot of games that don't have that knowledge baked into it right at the beginning, and then people go through not knowing, and the games could be better if more people knew.
Well, cool. Yeah, I'm super glad that's feeling useful. It's definitely like, story games are not just like a kind of game, but it's also like a culture, just like role-playing games in general are a culture. And it's tough. There's like all these like little things that like people do, and it's kind of hard to just teach that from, in a written format. It just helps so much when you can actually sit down with people. But, I think we just keep trying. But playing games is always the best. So let's play this game.
Yeah.
Where we were. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, the first question. Where are we? What are we doing?
Yeah, we're at the Hanging City, and we've all had one scene here. So I think anyone can go next, and we could either do another scene of the Hanging City or just kind of jump into a new location. I'd be kind of fine with either of those things.
Do you guys think that have we escaped this weird globe, the snow globe of being stuck in this wizard's like bag yet? Have we left that yet, or are we still in that?
Right, totally. I do not know.
We're still in it.
I
didn't get the impression that we are out of that yet.
Yeah.
also think it would keep working.
Huh?
I just taking a quick glance ahead, I think it would keep working.
Oh, just like narratively.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Or
something
at
we
least
can
for a
just
little
kinda-
bit.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
I think-
something we can just play to find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me it was like the second we entered the caves, it was sort of like this was the like sort of what's it called? Like the mouth of the deep.
Mhm.
When we entered there, these next like 3 things that we'll do sort of like all encompass that. That is by no means like a hard rule, but that's just sort of how my brain thought about it. Was like until we leave this, we haven't left the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great.
I have a delivery arriving soon, so I'm going to pass on doing the first scene just so I don't have to get up midway through the scene, but it will definitely be here before the next one.
All right.
Should be here in 4 or 5 minutes.
I'm also going to attempt to hot drop in a slightly updated version of this map. Hopefully no one will
Oh.
notice.
Wasn't this the updated version?
Yeah, but then I updated it again.
You did another one. Ooh, hard at work.
You can't expect me to leave something alone for 2 weeks.
That's the ADHD mood.
Here
Oh,
it is.
do you want me to copy all the tokens?
No,
I see
no,
like
I
a
think
junior version of it on the page
it'll be
I'm
fine. I
on.
think it'll be fine. I just have to move to the... Yeah, it's the junior version. Alright, I just have to get to the right. Okay, great. And I'll make it big. So just delete that.
Goodbye, map.
It's coming back.
Goodbye.
Alright.
This is the map itself, just
Hello, map.
the abyss.
Yeah. Alright, sorry for the chaos. We're back.
Never apologize for chaos.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna do a scene since it seems like fun. Yeah, it's funny. It is always sometimes a little challenging to like just jump back in. You know, it's been a while. It kind of takes a while for me. Just like, what voice was I using for this character? Things like that.
Mhm.
But I did listen to us playing. I listened to those like scenes that were those clipped scenes of the Gollum cleaning jokes from our last session.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that.
I just
All
watched a little bit of that too.
right, cool.
Down somewhere.
I'm gonna move the Megas because that seems like a good idea. So everyone, take your tokens off the board,
All right.
and we're gonna talk about the Sea of Salt. And the prompt here is a change in the weather.
I forget what it was again.
Sounds like what try-hard gamers swim in.
Every single time.
Yes, every time. God. Okay, cool. So I'm thinking that the Sea of Salt. I'm kind of wondering if it's like actually salt or if it's just like water that is so salty that like literally nothing sinks and everything just like floats up to the top.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of exciting to me right now, so maybe I'll go with that.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining it's kind of a strange color too. Like we're actually see a part of these caves. We're still underground, or it still looks like we're underground. Maybe I guess we kind of like established we're inside this globe that these wizards are carrying around in their pockets. I think, maybe the opening shot of this like episode, if this were a TV show, would be we see that globe is now sitting in some kind of wizard's seclusium, and there are many strange artifacts around, and this globe is sitting in a little it's like a stand, you know, kind of like you might see like a crystal ball sitting in like a little kind of with I think we see this globe and it's sitting in a stand that looks like a pair of ravens whose kind of like wings are standing up, and between the two of them, between their the four wings, this globe is like sitting in the midst of it, and the ravens are this kind of like this black polished this like black polished obsidian or like volcanic glass. Maybe is that what obsidian is? No, I can't remember.
That is what
it is. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, science check.
I just know from
and-
Minecraft.
Yeah, that's really funny. Yeah, and the globe has this swirling purplish glow, and our viewer, as we're watching, like the camera kind of gets closer and closer, and it goes through the glass into the glow, and then we see the mist part, and there is this churning, this churning sea that we are we're sailing right now. We're on a boat, and the boat on the deck of the boat, we see, the party, all of us are there as well, like Justice, Elmira, Harp, River, myself, and Caspian, and the Magus is there as well. And there's this crew of rag draggers who are operating the boat for us. I'm imagining there's a captain who's kind of running the crew, and the Magus is up at the prow with the captain right now. Does somebody have an idea for what this captain of this boat looks like? This kind of chief rag dragger.
We kind of established that there was like a market for colored rags, and I'm imagining that he is very, like, he's just covered in a bunch of different colored rags, like hundreds of different colors draped. Oh,
yeah, Chef?
Yes, building onto that, I totally imagine a parrot, but transformed into like a human form. So like super colorful and like loud hair, like red vibrant hair with like really large colored rainbow beads and rags that are like from that market. That's what I envision.
I love that. I love the idea of this kind of people that are like living off of the trash of the hanging city, and so like everything they have is just like wildly discordant. It's just like wildly, nothing goes with anything else. Like including the crew, like they're all just like dressed kind of like wildly different from each other, and they were on their way. I think they just go out into the Sea of Salt from time to time, because this is actually where you can get some really great trash, like from the surface and from other places. And there's just like weird things because the water here is so salty, just nothing ever sinks. And so there's just all these crazy things just kind of like bobbing up and down in the surface. And the boat kind of as we've been sailing these last these last couple days, we notice a change in the weather, and it's starting to get hot, kind of inspired by Marcy's air conditioning problems. So it's just getting kind of like hotter and stickier as we sail through, and the boat and the wind starts to pick up a bit, and the boat kind of crashes over this wave, and just this extremely like salty spray goes over us and sticks to, and before long we've all kind of got this little like rind of salt kind of coating us, coating our clothes, coating our things.
Interesting.
And we see the Magus there, in her robes, and I'm just kind of imagining her kind of like flanked by the two golems who she's made in her image, River, who's kind of been a little too long in service, and then the younger Elamira, and we kind of like see the three. I'm just imagining just kind of leaving it with like an image of the three of them kind of like looking out over the prow, as we're kind of charging into the storm. And I'll end that scene there.
Nice. I like that you went with the salt, kind of lifts everything up so that there are things bobbing around. And already imagining what my character is doing, Harp, just looking at all the little bobby knickknacks that are in the sea and wondering, oh, what can I fish out of here and put in my little knapsack.
Totally.
I like the
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mercy.
kind of idea that the picture for Sea of Salt evokes of maybe it's just perspective, but it's also could be like ship-sized trash, and thinking of this spray of very salt water. Justice is probably not wearing any armor or her sword for the first time at least since leaving Ravenhall, and probably did not completely take off all of her armor at any time then. She took her job very seriously. And I kind of like this image that's coming in my head of some of these larger, maybe like tops of buildings and stuff that's drifting by us, floating. Instead of icebergs and ice floats, there's this stuff. And Justice just kind of like fly leaping off the boat onto some of them and then like running along them beside the boat and running back as it's something big enough and we're close enough, because this is the most unencumbered she's been in a really long time, at least a season.
I think Caspian would be joining her and doing that too, like seeing her going out and being like, yeah, okay, and just quietly following along.
I think that would be something Harp wants to do a scene with salt sailors, a lot of the salt.
Yeah, do
and so whoever can jump into the scene, but definitely how I set the scene, I imagine like the camera is panning like a bird's eye view over this ship that's sailing through the sea, and it's going at like a slow pace. The sea almost looks sand-like in the way that it moves, and we kind of pan to the side to see Justice and Caspian, I guess, running along. Would you like to describe what's going on that you're doing there?
I like the idea of sticking with this top of a building idea, and I'm kind of imagining like the domed top of an observatory, that, just the copper top of the dome has just been fully oxidized and greened, and the thing is listing sideways. And I'm imagining Caspian and I are racing to the point that is the highest up, but still close to the boat, and just neck and neck, racing to make this jump. If that works for you.
Yeah, I think Caspian's not exactly a bragger, but he's definitely probably a little bit more agile, being a fox. So just trying to take longer strides and nimbly dodge around things to kind of goad Justice on without saying a word. Just like, hey, look what I can do.
Nice. So Harp is now looking from the ship's like edge, you two racing with her binoculars that she found sitting somewhere and like a little flapping piece of like cloth that she's using to fan herself because it's like summer heat wave and like extremely humid here, I guess. And she's cheering on Two's like, oh, go for it, and not really specifying who she's cheering for. And she looks down to Harley. Always confused. Harvey and Harley. Yeah.
Do you have pigs with both names, or is there?
It's just one.
There's just one. Okay.
I guess everyone mishears, but it's kind of like a joke inside the group. It's like, oh, it's either Harley or Harvey. Just
maybe Harvey was like another pig, another like a brother or sister pig.
Yes. And so Harp looks down to Harley and says, oh, I know that you would totally outrun these two. I was just giving them two a chance to let them feel good about themselves about something. Ah, yes. You won first place in all the races I ever put you on, huh?
Harley Harvey jeez. Sticks his nose in the air and like sort of like prances around like he's the best.
Oh, yes, your hooves are so strong and your legs are all so beefy. I am so proud of you, but look at them. They're just having such fun, and I haven't seen Justice smile this much in a long while. Would you look at it? And she kind of like looks over to Justice with her binoculars on, like trying to keep up the pace moving. And I think the ship has gotten to like a pace where it's slow enough that if you were to hop off the ship, you could actually like jog a little and hop back on. And so Harp decides to get one of those, it's like a long extended arm that has the clamps at the end, and you can grab things. It's like a big old, what do you call those, barbecue skewer, like barbecue clamps. Yeah. So she's using a very extended version of that and trying to pick up things off the ground that she thinks would be nifty, but it's nothing useful. She just wants to believe that there is use for anything and everything that she finds. And she picks up like a cloth that she finds, and it's like, oh, Harley, we didn't need to go to that marketplace. You can just find it anywhere. What's that say? Oh, one man's trash is another one's treasure. Oh, how the world, I see treasure in everything. This would look so good on you. And kind of like tries to fit it on.
I would like to ask a question. So if the things that Harp is fishing out aren't very useful, but Harp wants to believe that everything is useful, does that mean that there is a pile of trash accumulating beside Harp and getting taller?
Yes, absolutely.
As this is happening?
She won't throw it back. She'll just pick it up and be like, maybe this old boot would be really good for Justice. It's got a little hole in it, but it adds a little airflow. And she fishes again and tries to get something that looks like a bag. And it's like, and it's like leaking of the salt water. Oh, well, if you just dry this just a little bit, maybe Caspian could use another pouch and hold her knickknacks.
So what's going on right now? Are you like walking? You're not on the boat.
Yeah, I'm not on the boat. I'm just kind of walking around, and I'm like tossing it to Harley, who Harley puts it onto the pile of garbage.
So I'm just curious about, if you're not on the boat, what are you on?
I'm like walking on the water because it's like buoyant enough. Is that the word?
Okay, cool.
Where
Yeah.
I can actually like walk on the water.
Nice.
But if it's kind of like quicksand, so if
it's like a salt smoothie.
Yes, I should have clarified that. I was like, oh yeah, it's.
No, I figured it was something like that, or the other thing I was imagining was like there's just like so much trash that it's kind of like we're an icebreaker ship, like a trash breaker. But I like that.
I thank you for asking. It was so I'm envisioning like the ship going through these waters, and for some reason I have like this vision of like sand, like the color of sand for this water, and there's the roofs of the buildings, and
there's buildings. There's like whole like
like the
buildings.
tops of like sunken buildings, and it's spacious enough where it's not overcrowded with junk, but definitely like within a like 5-meter reach of one thing that's another piece of garbage that's laying around. So Harp is walking on this water as she's picking up things and throwing it over her head to Harley to catch with his little snout and put it on the ship.
So what do the sailors think about this behavior? Because I think you're attracting quite like they're watching you from the side of the ship as you're just doing this.
I yell to the sailors, "Don't be so bothered. Just a couple things here and there.
I can't imagine that the sailors would have much to say to this adorable old lady who could beat them up.
Does anyone want to play a sailor?
I'll play a sailor.
Don't be so bothered here. Look at you here. I've got a little bottle down here. And, it would make such a good, a piece of grass for your drinks.
I'm just thinking about the prompt a little bit and wondering, like, I'm just imagining that, like, at some point there is, like, something that you do that is of significance to them that might not be of significance to the rest of us. So I think that there's these sailors are watching as you gather all the things, and like there's quite a crowd. They're like pointing you out, and I think that it's either like something you find, or maybe even just the fact that we've been scavenging for a while, and the sailors always use their nets, and they don't usually go out of the boat, and that there's probably like a reason for that. This is like the law of the salt. It's just like, oh, you never go out on the salt.
Starts corroding.
Oh, there's gonna be a reason for it now.
Yeah, and they're like whispering amongst each other. Do we speak their language? Is that something we've decided? Do we understand what they say? Or maybe they don't talk when they're out on the salt.
I mean, we
That could
definitely
be the law.
we were able to communicate with the people that we communicated with in the city,
Yeah.
but we
That
spend a lot of time with the rag draggers, and when we did, it was with like a kind of certain family sect of them
Yeah.
that had hosted us, and so I could definitely see that there's room for there to be a language barrier here.
I was gonna say
Cool.
maybe the sailors, like, it's the same language but a very different dialect.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, they have a lot of rag dragger slang they use that we don't always follow. Yeah, and maybe like now as they're referencing, they're just kind of pointing and kind of maybe, I don't think they're like upset or angry. I don't think this is something that's particularly dangerous, but they're really like amused at what you're doing. They would never ever just like get out of the ship and just start piling stuff on the boat. Yeah, maybe the rule is just that you're allowed to like bring anything onto the boat that you want, to claim for your own, but you have to store it all in your bunk. And like, so like you pile all the stuff up, and then if we want to jump ahead, and you can jump back in time, but I'm imagining like fast forwarding to like a point where you like put all the stuff in the nets and they pull everything onto the boat for you, and then like later on you go back into your little modest cabin that the Magus has secured for you on this ship, and it's just completely filled with salty, dripping, all this treasure that you found.
Yes.
You hear a muffled oink from underneath the pile of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, no, like a good half of that actually would be given as gifts. So it's just the rest of the things. I think that that the sailors having that distinct, like, what are you doing, like walking on the water? Would we have to bring the nets? Like, perhaps the salt is in some way corrosive to our health.
Sure.
Maybe it could actually be something that affects magic in a sense, like as a barrier, something that cushions magic from happening. I'd like to call my scene there.
Cool. Sounds great.
So I just want to double check to make a major. Is it the leaf?
Oh, that's the change. Yeah, the change is the leaf icon.
Okay.
that's where you change you change part of your character card. You want to do the next scene, Marcy?
Yes, I do.
All right.
I also like to do this scene with Heart. I'm imagining that this is a little past the frolicking and the fishing, a little later on. I think there is a way that you can feel the difference between night and day while we are sort of in between worlds in this living expanse of cave-ishness. And I don't think it's light, and I'm wondering if anyone else has ideas for what the way that you can measure the time difference is, because I'm certain we've moved far enough now that we can't hear the call to prayer from the Hanging City.
Yeah, like I could see like this kind of sand-filled hourglass that they use, or perhaps they have somebody on the ship who's the time counter, and they're just all they do is just count. And it's really important that they don't fuck up, because the prayers need to be done at the correct times, and the water in the fish tanks needs to be changed every so often, so our live trout that we've got with us don't all die, and various things like that. So those are a couple thoughts that I have.
I like that.
Maybe they don't even count, but maybe some people are just gifted with, like, you know how some people have perfect pitch, but instead it's like a perfect sense of time.
I love it.
Yeah.
So like they find these gifted children, and then as they grow up, they train them to be the timekeepers.
The timekeepers.
On the
order
set.
of timekeepers.
Imagine they just sit there clicking their tongues to mark the
Yeah. I love it.
I love the idea of the timekeepers, and so I want to do a backward storm lashed by strange reversals.
Maybe there's like maybe there's like a whole order of them on board. There's like 6 of them.
I actually also wanted to add something to the time thing, just to throw it out there. But I thought it would be really cool to incorporate that sand. And when Ross, you said the hourglass, I imagined the sand sinking and then going back up, depending on what time it is.
Like a tide, almost?
Oh.
Yeah, and then revealing kind of all the junk in the world in like a flat space. And then the sand just suddenly starts going back up again. But that's just an idea that popped up when those words were mentioned.
Cool.
Okay, that's so cool, Shaz. I like that. So I think Justice and Harp are standing against the railing towards the prow of the boat that we're on, and I think that the very point of the boat, there is a fire that is kept burning, and the hour of the day is measured by sand being thrown into that fire that changes the color that it burns for the next hour. Which is how the ships measure the hour of time passing. But I also think that the tide thing is great. So as one of the timekeepers throws a handful of sand into the fire and it takes a more greenish tinge, there are also the intact buildings. I think there's floating tops of buildings, but also the intact buildings that have just been drowned in this place. And whereas we were floating between their rooftops before, they are towering stories above us now. So we are we've gone from observing the top of a city to being in it visually. And I think there are lights, almost like stars. Now that the rooftops are above us, the people that live in the Sea of Salt in these buildings all live at the tops of the buildings, and so there are fires in windows above us here and there, and it gives this idea of stars when we look up.
Oh, cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
And Harp and Justice are leaning against the railing, and Harp is Harp is wearing clothes that they have had since Ravenhall, but they have tied colored rags into it. And they have their sword at their side, strapped on. Justice.
You mean Justice? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry if I just realized that.
No, it's totally cool.
And Justice is going to say to Harp out of the side of her mouth, before I say that, I've been getting the impression that we don't know that we're in an enchanted bubble thing, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, we don't know.
What I've gotten is that none of us are really know that. Okay.
Yeah.
So Justice is going to say out the side of her mouth to Harp, something isn't right here. Am I imagining that? Or have you sensed it too?
Harp kind of leans on the railing and kind of turns to her side and says, "Is it your fashion sense?"
Dunked.
She kind of teases, but like she's like, "Well, no, there's something a little off, yes, lately. It's not all too merry, and I thought it was just my old age coming in my brain and doing some funky dances there. But glad to know that maybe someone else is experiencing these things."
Your age doing some funky dances. Funny.
Your old age is certainly coming into your brain in many ways, and I would happily seat you down one day and recount you with all the ones that I alone have observed, with you keeping in mind, of course, that there are others. Not the least of which being the idea of someone thinking that they can give fashion advice when they use a boar and birds as their accessories, but I forgive you.
I'll take that as a compliment.
I know that you're getting on in your days. I should be patient with you for that reason.
I mean, have you seen yourself as a kid? You could talk about patience. You've run me wild since you're a little gremlin running around, and quite frankly, I don't know why I kept you for so long, but something says to me, this one's a good one.
Oh, Harp.
Someone's giving fashion advice one
Old
day.
age doing dances in your brain. You're just imagining me. No, have you ever seen anyone else here speak to me?
She kind of side checks you and laughs to herself as she she's having a drink right now.
Cool.
Some salt beer.
Yeah, I was just thinking this is horrible.
Well, she can't taste anything anymore. She just
Keeps her electrolytes
flavor.
up.
Yeah. Dehydrates the heck out of you, though.
Makes you thirsty for more.
That's how you know it's working.
Yeah.
The Magus hasn't told me anything about what this place is that feels so obviously wrong to me. The Magus hasn't given me any clues as to how best to watch over them or how best to execute. They're trying to act like everything is normal. The Magus,
Do you not trust the Magus?
as the Magus gets seemingly less clever and more tired in our travels, I am also feeling cut off by them at times when I think that we're all in danger, and I'm the one who's supposed to be ready for that.
Harp kind of steps back, and she puts like her arm over just the shoulder in like a firm grip, and kind of like to reassure her. No, it's definitely hard to. I couldn't imagine being someone in your position to feel so responsible for everybody, but as someone who had to take care of people, you just can't rely on others to always have the answers. Sometimes it's yourself that needs to search for them, and that's the hardest part. It's being able to trust yourself and finding these ways to navigate the world. You don't have to have all the answers now. You are already doing your best, and having everybody's good intentions in mind, you're keeping us safe. Don't worry about that. And she kind of like nudges you again.
Justice nudges back and says, "It's very funny for you to say that you do not understand having to take care of so many people, as though you haven't raised so many children. All that you've done in your life is to look after others."
She stares kind of in the openness of what the environment they're in, and gets the flashbacks of all the people that she watched over, and says, well, where are they now? I mean, I'm not so good at taking care of them if I only have one of them near me.
Well, I mean, don't place the weight on my shoulders if you haven't followed me around everywhere, but are you happy? Do you feel like it was worth it?
She takes a deep breath and pauses for a moment. I'm happy. I know it's unfortunate the things that happened in the past, but you can't burden yourself with all that weight. I've already got enough salt in my boots. And lots of sand, but...
Probably in every wrinkle too, right?
Yeah, she kind of like takes the inner crease elbow and kind of like takes off the sand and puts it on your hand or something to bug you.
Just your hand away, but after brushing the hand away, rubs the salt into the back of her hand.
But I'm happy. Things don't always work your way that you imagine and hope to, but that's not what makes me happy. It's being able to see the good things that have brought me here the way it did, whether good or bad. Are you happy?
I was today. And I think I would like to call that mostly seen. I think that many hours later, when the fire has had enough sand thrown in it to be mostly blue, the wee hours of the morning, Harp has gone to their garbage stream bunk. And Justice is still standing at that railing and unbuckles her sword and holds it over the edge for an embarrassingly long time to not let go of it in the end, and buckles it back on and goes to bed, and I'm going to call that scene.
Damn.
That's cool. Can I ask you questions?
Mm-hmm.
I have questions. Justice is it sounds like Justice is like really wrestling with something, and I'm just curious if you could like maybe describe that a little bit. Like, what is it that you see Justice wrestling with here? Like whether violence is justified, or whether she wants to be a protector, or like what is it?
What I'm imagining Justice's struggle right now is that I think the battle at Swine Hill and the previous sort of combats that were significant in history that we've mentioned here and there, I think that they were all before Justice's time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's been any significant war or battle in Justice's time.
Yeah.
And I think that as long as she was a very fancy retainer at Ravenhall with important work to do training people, that was fine. But now being on the road and being confronted with how little the role of being a knight lets her take care of people, and also how like being besworn to someone who does not treat you respectfully and how you're supposed to execute your work have both put her in a position. She's like, what the fuck has my whole life been then?
Interesting. Yeah, so you're seeing... when you first started talking, I thought like, oh, this is kind of like imposter syndrome or something, but it seems like it's a little different than that. It's like you've kind of like pledged your life to this profession that's sort of just become outmoded. You're kind of like supposed to be protecting somebody like the Magus, who it seems like can mostly just like protect herself, and also has these like magical golem guardian that's just like basically like superhuman.
Whoop my ass.
Totally. Yeah, so there's like a little bit of this what is my purpose here, It's interesting to think about. And I wonder like if why the Magus does have you here. You're a representative of Stormguard, so there could be some kind of like political reason, or maybe the Magus sees something in you that you don't see in yourself, or maybe the Magus is just like a really bad manager that just has more employees than she knows what to do with.
Yeah, I'm really comfortable with exploring that and finding out what happens, but that's definitely where Justice's head is at. Is like, okay, my job is pretty apparently through everything that's happened in this journey, bullshit.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you for letting me play that scene with you. I was like, yes!
Lovely.
That was really cool.
I had fun with that. I'm really glad it was with you.
I just wanted to add from the beginning of that scene, I think Caspian doesn't know what's going on, but also has a good idea that something is wrong, because if you recall, the scene at the very beginning of the cave was Caspian was the only one who saw everything for what it was.
I forgot about that.
So while he hasn't said anything, out of game, Caspian does have some idea that something is not right.
I wonder if this is like a kind of magic that you've seen before in the Mistwood, or these wizards. We're on Spirit River, which is like part of the Mistwood. That's like where we encountered them. So like maybe about these you've heard about these tricks that they play sometimes.
I think it definitely is in keeping with some of what Mutiny's earlier established points of Caspian was, with the scrying pool and everything. Caspian has lived a life of fascination with magic.
Without really knowing what it is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I would imagine that Caspian has seen some stuff that they couldn't put into perspective, and read some books that they were like, but how?
Interesting, cool.
Yeah, I like that. That makes sense.
All right, who'd like to go next?
I'm gonna roll a dice.
No, I wanted to do that one.
You both do it.
No, it's fine.
Alright.
So, Peril. So, if you're going to the wreck of the Stormwing, then you describe that scene, and at some point, the prompt
All right.
Anytime after that is when you roll the die after you've integrated the story prompt.
All right. So the wreck of the Stormwing. The boats in this place, they all are sort of like of a similar design. I'm imagining they have to be like flat-bottomed because if they're shaped like regular ships, they'd probably just tip over, like floating as high as they would in the water.
Kind of like a barge.
Yeah, kind of like a barge. And yeah, I guess we've established that they're sort of like trash breakers was the term. So yeah, we're sort of sailing along still, and off to the one side, a couple of the sailors call out from the crow's nest that there is a wreck coming up, and it's considered good luck that every person aboard step onto the wreck of the Stormwing. This is sort of like just like a folk thing. It's not actually.
Can I add something?
Absolutely.
When I was a kid, we went to camp. It was a very outdoorsy camp, and one of the things that you did when you got old enough, I think it was 13, was the first year that you do the overnight camping.
Oh yeah.
Like outside of camp. So we paddled up the river from the camp to the falls. That was like an hour's paddle in the canoe, and then you go through a lock to get into the next lake. And the tradition of this camp that they made all these little 13-year-olds do was that you had to lick the lock.
I don't think that would fly now.
Everyone in the canoe holding on to the wall, because I mean you're in a tiny little canoe and there's like these yachts going through. You had to at least for 1 second, but some people did it all the way up. You had to stick your tongue on the wall of the lock.
Oh.
All right, so what are we supposed to lick on the Stormwing?
Like a salt lick.
Yeah, maybe like there's
Maybe
a wall.
there's like a bell, or there's like
you
a...
step onto it, like lick.
Oh,
You
man.
know, your head.
You mentioned silly
Rock candy.
So I think, you know what? I like the idea of a bell. For like barges, especially on like foggy nights, they would be able to communicate with each other. So there is probably a bell. And on the wreck of the Stormwing, it's quite large, and it's caked from years of
It's just been here
like
forever.
of salt and just sitting here for so long. But there is one spot that is completely bare. And that is the spot that everybody licks.
It's the forbidden jawbreaker.
I'm about to bring bad luck to this entire ship, and I don't care.
Would now be a good time to mention that I have mono.
Can somebody play one of the superstitious sailors for me?
Yeah, there's many of them.
I could play.
I would love to.
Yeah, go for it.
As
You're
many
up.
as would like to play. All right. Just take it away. I'll play with whatever you give me. Also, everybody can like contribute with this scene because we're all going to be licking the bell or not licking the bell.
Sailors there on the crow's nest.
I see her. I see them. Oh yes, we gotta pull the gang together, and we gotta go to the bell.
It's a Stormwing!
Head into the Stormwing!
And I think we like kind of the ship pulls this, kind of like parallel parks next to the Stormwing. The hooks go over, kind of like crunching through the salt as they grip onto the rail, and we reel in, and we're just kind of like wondering, what's going on here? What are we doing? And
now you newcomers here. What we're gonna do? We're gonna get off. We're gonna go on to you see where the bell is? You see the bell?
lick the
We're
bell.
not moving the ship. We're not going any further
This
unless.
ship doesn't go anywhere until you go up and you give that bell a good licking.
Oh, you get that tongue out there and you give her a good licking on that bell. We ain't moving that ship no 2 feet, no 1 feet, no nothing feet. If you're not gonna go be licking that bell.
What the hell you're saying? Shy now, none of them sissy licks. Real sailors lick.
You brought up the people with the like timekeeping skill. being kind of raised for this, so I definitely am timekeeper first tour. There's got it. What is this, like a hazing? This is a joke, right?
Oh, the timekeepers haven't done this before.
That's a tradition as old as the Sea of Salt itself. Everyone's got to go lick the bell. You know, there's this...
Sailor, though.
You're on the boat. You're a sailor. You're on the sailing. You're sailing the seas. You're a sailor.
You want to walk your way over to your destination, what feet, huh? You're not getting on my boat again if you don't lick the bell.
I think at this point,
You'd leave me here.
the sailors have started to queue up, and they're licking the bell, and the bell tastes terrible. It's really gross, and I think like we see this kind of grizzled sailor, and he kind of gets ready, and everyone's kind of cheering him on, and then they just like give the bell a lick, and they're just like, ah! You see their faces all prune up like you just drank the saltiest brine you could possibly imagine. Yeah, please.
Can I add something to that? That sailor, the first one has to lick a new spot on the bell. Like, just,
geez.
like, beside it, like, a worse spot than, like, the bare metal. It's like a proof of...
Maybe that's
like,
what you do if you're extra salty. You know,
Yeah.
like if you're like a true sailor, you lick a grosser spot on the bell.
Yep.
Is the goal to get this bell to not be salted over anymore?
Maybe it's possible.
We want that bell looking shiny by the time we finish our trek.
Caspian is no stranger to strange folklore, so I think he'll be the first to jump out of the boat and go, okay.
Yeah.
Wait, Caspian?
Yeah.
Okay, wait, hey, I have a moment with Caspian and
Right.
Justice. So Justice and Caspian are like watching this, and Caspian immediately starts walking up, and Justice is gonna grab Caspian's arm and say, wait. Do you think anyone's ever licked the top of the bell, the loop? And then just
the
takes
saltiest.
off.
Like towards the bell, or?
Yeah, it's a race.
You'll just be the hero.
Uh-huh.
of the
Oh,
ship if you
Caspian
lick the
stops
top
for
of the bell.
not 2 seconds, like 2 milliseconds to like, huh? And then, oh! and races after.
Who gets there first?
For sure.
I was gonna say,
Jump
I would like
back.
Caspian to, trip up Justice somehow. Like, he has a bow. Caspian has a bow. Caspian whips out the bow and just like knocks it to get Justice out of the way.
Be careful, Justice still has a blessed strike left over from the previous session. You don't want to mess with that.
Well, I do want to mess with that. Yeah, Caspian's gonna run up and get on Justice's heels and like knock her to kind of trip her up. And
Justice definitely like knocks off to the side and is laughing. And I kind of like the idea of Caspian just like effortlessly leaping to the top of the bell.
yeah, I think
And
this is a
Justice, like-
huge bell, and Caspian like
Yeah.
scrambles up it.
And Justice like has to jump off of something else to try and doesn't quite make it. And Caspian like we do like the arm class catch, and Caspian like pulls Justice up.
Yes, let's lick together.
Yeah. And that's how I imagine. That's yeah.
How big is
And
this bell?
The sailors all cheer.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
That's a lick.
Bigger the lick, the bigger the luck.
Yes. Greatest saying.
And Harley is about to bring some good luck upon this ship.
That's a luck lick.
God, the sailors are Irish.
Sorry, how big is this bell?
The Blarney Bell.
I'm thinking like torso size. Like it's not huge, but it's like it's a pretty big bell.
Okay. I thought it was like a small one where we had to like kind of figure out where we're gonna live. Yeah.
All right, so the queue's starting to die down as everyone's taking their licks, and I think we sort of have Elamura and and River kind of like looking at each other. Do we have tongues?
We have tongues, I think.
Cool.
But of course, I don't think we taste.
Yeah. We're like,
but yeah, we're pretty anatomical.
We'll play along. We've done strange human
We spit so much spit from the golems.
Oh, I need a spit shine for sure.
Well, as Caspian said, I'm always up for new things. In fact, this journey has been entirely about new things. And I just sort of like grab either side of the bell and like lick from the bottom of it all the way to the top, carving like a whole groove into it.
What, like
I don't know if it counts though. I can't taste.
Wow. The sailors are just like completely shocked, but I guess it makes sense because you're a golem. Yeah, and I think maybe as you do that, it kind of disturbs the structure of the salt, and the salt just like cracks and breaks apart and falls off of the bell.
Oh no. How do the sailors react?
They're like, yeah, I think they're a little
are they
shocked. They haven't
upset
planned for this. It's like your Christmas tree just like got up and walked out the door. I don't know.
Oh.
I'll never hear what happens next after this. Okay. I hope it's good luck.
And River, I think, River is next in line behind you, and she kind of like looks at it and touches it with her finger, and to find like a place to lick, and as she does it, the bell just kind of like makes this like a little bit of a sound, and then not really quite sure what strikes her to do this, but she just turns her hand into a fist and just strikes the bell with this stone fist, and it lets out this like resounding gong sound that hasn't been heard in maybe a century. The bell of the Stormwing.
Wow.
I'm gonna call that scene.
Oh, you got to. You can't. Unfortunately, you can't have the scene yet.
You salvage. Sorry, I forgot.
Yeah, the treasure you seek.
Treasure I
the
seek.
Prompt.
Was the treasure that I sought. There's a small chip. As the bell cracks and sort of crumbles, a small bit of the bell, the brass bell, just breaks off with the salt. And Elamira picks it up and sort of thinks to herself, I guess I'll take a little bit of the luck with me. And it's sort of like the last bit of the bell that has any salt on it. And she picks it up and she puts it in her pocket and starts heading back.
Cool. Why don't you go ahead and roll the die?
Harp is internally very happy that
I did roll it.
You were hoarding.
Oh, you did roll the die, and that's what you got.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Cool.
Yeah, no worries.
The new timekeeper for whom this is their first tour is definitely cursing under their breath after all the salt falls off.
Oh no.
Should have just waited.
I thought they'd be happy they didn't have to.
Oh no, they did before that happened.
Oh, okay.
Cursing.
Damn it. Also, I didn't put my token. I forgot which token I was. I'm the candle, right?
I think the candle's the... Oh, yeah, I think you're the candle.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Y'all gotta create a stronger emotional attachment to your pieces.
Yeah. Mine's easy because I'm a river.
Yeah.
I'm a box, so...
I usually play the candle, but then, like, when I don't, I'm like, oh no. Am I the candle or am I not the candle?
Cool. Mutiny, I think you're next.
Am I?
I believe so.
Says who?
Well, I did just say so, but...
Says you.
Creator himself.
Oh, okay. The creator himself.
Well, whatever. You don't have to take a turn if you don't want to. I want you to take a turn, and you're the one of us that has not taken a turn
I
yet.
didn't realize that everybody had taken a turn already. Oh man. I'm not sure what I want to do.
That's where you make the other people do the work. That's what I kind of do.
Okay. I think I have some semblance of a possible maybe. I'm gonna do Scrap Town. We've already established that people live out here, so we're kind of in this city. And after the bell, I think the next stop is going to be like another floating city where people are living, and it sort of gives like the hanging city vibes, in that the tall buildings are they're all around us, but there's more balconies, and instead of just seeing lights from windows, it's people hanging their wares like off the balconies.
Oh, it's like a drive-through sort of.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've got food out here, and trinkets and scraps, and they trade amongst each other and amongst the boats floating by. So I don't know where to go next.
Yeah, what's Caspian doing right now as we're sailing through this?
I think Caspian likes it up in the crow's nest, and will hang out there for a lot of the time. It's nice to be up high where he can see everything, and I guess one of the sailors is probably up there with him.
Did you lick the bell?
I was going to say, they probably don't understand or speak much. But yeah, okay, yes.
Bell, did you lick?
Yes, double check.
Can I ask you a question?
We figured out that language barrier. Did you lick the bell? Yes.
I want to ask a question. Is Caspian not sort of a folk hero on this ship right now? Caspian has got to be at least like the cool guest of the ship, if not a folk hero, right? Like everyone is like, you have absolutely proven yourself, right?
For licking the bell.
For jumping to the top of the bell, helping a comrade up, licking the bell, like.
Yeah, I think they gave you some kind of like special prize that the person that does the saltiest, the most saltiest of the licks, you get to wear like the salt wreath.
I don't think Caspian enjoyed that spotlight.
They are in it.
Is that why they're in the crow's nest?
Yeah.
Yeah, hiding away from everyone. The salt wreath is gently put to the side. A bad deal.
Yeah, is it possible that as we're sailing through Scrap Town, that something catches your eye, like something that you actually want?
I think, yes, that's a good idea. Will someone be my shopkeeper?
How everyone wants to be a shopkeeper.
Yeah.
The specific thing that catches Caspian's eye is a bright turquoise stone.
Really like to be the shopkeeper.
Stone turquoise, once you do.
It is oval in shape, and it's probably made out of salt, but it's been polished, and it's just like a little robin's egg sized, and the gleam of it catches Caspian's eye.
I'm imagining that the shopkeepers of this place, they've kind of built these different ways of kind of getting out to the ships. And I'm kind of imagining these like kind of platforms that are hooked up to kind of some analog machinery and reels that they can work with their hands to kind of like telescope them out to come see you, or kind of swing them around. They can articulate in different directions. Yeah. And so as we're sailing through, there's this one, we kind of get near this one, tower where different people are kind of like hoisting things out. They're hanging it. We see like kind of like fishing rod like things with different goods, and people are kind of swapping things on and off of the boat. And like someone takes a basket of salted fish off of one hook and kind of puts some kind of like a bolt of silk from the hanging city on it. So this shopkeeper is kind of out on maybe like kind of some sort of like dangling ladder that's kind of articulated and kind of descends down on the crow's nest, and it's kind of, and as our ship kind of moves slowly, it's kind of like extending out, kind of moving with you a little bit as we swing around this building. And that's
probably moving very slowly.
Happening. Yeah, totally.
Very nice stone. Caught your eye, yes.
Hold on, who's playing the? I thought it was Marcy.
Oh, sorry, is Marcy playing it?
Maybe there's two shopkeepers.
No, I want Marcy if Marcy wants to play.
You do it, Marcy.
I have thoughts for this scene, which is why I want to play this scene.
Hit it.
Yep,
I have a complication.
No offense, Rob. I heard.
No, I didn't even hear Marcy say. Sorry, that's my bad.
So yeah, as this articulated ladder kind of swings out to meet the crow nest wall, Caspian is looking at the glint of this stone. The shopkeep turns around and says, "Faster, boy, faster! Come on, we have to keep up with the ships. You want to earn your shilling or not?"
I'm sorry, sir. I'm trying.
And the moving platform catches up with the crow's nest and says, "We're too high. We're too high. What about you? I've got fish here, not the salt fish. All right. So there's a clear pool, and I fish there. You must be hungry all your time on the sea. What do you bring from there? The garbage from the hanging city? I've got some nice fresh meat here. What do you think?"
I'm not hungry, thank you.
Oh, come on, for the ship? Are you not? You're up here on the crow's nest. You're not an emissary of the captain. Come on, this is important stuff for people that have to go a long time. One leg of the trip, all the barrels are empty. There's nothing left to eat. Come on.
Long trip, you'll be hungry eventually.
Listen to the boy. He doesn't know much, but he knows that.
I know very little, but I know that.
This stone here. What is
Don't
this?
look at the stone. That's not for sale. That's for good luck, all right? That's an old family heirloom. That's not for you. I don't even want you thinking about that. If you aren't the person who can get the meat, what do you want the stone for?
I have an interest in things that are shiny. It's caught my eye.
I couldn't trade this to you in any sort of good conscience, This is the value of this stone. It's personal more than it is useful in the rest of the world. Does that make sense?
I do understand the personal value, but I have no interest in your fish.
Well, I think you would be very interested in my fish if you were hungry, so let's just leave that off to the side for now, all right? I don't want you disparaging my fish. Certainly don't be repeating that around the town.
No, I mean no disrespect.
I couldn't trade that, unless it was for something of equally personal value, some sort of sanctimony. Should not be trying to use big words, but something that's sacred to me. I would like to know what the salt crown looks like.
Marcy, I just wanted to point out, I just want to throw something out. I love the idea that this market, or that this merchant wants something that's of equal sentimental value that you kind of threw out there. I think that's like a really funny, kind of fascinating idea. Yeah.
I promise I'm not being nice about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would like to know now what the salt crown looks like, because that's about to become important to the scene.
What's oh, the
salt wreath
the
or
wreath.
whatever. Yeah.
Salt wreath, yeah.
You know what a stereotypical pillar of salt looks like?
like from Sodom and Gomorrah. We know Sodom and Gomorrah. What was it? Where the story of was it the story? What's the story where they turned everybody into pillars of salt?
Yep.
Yeah, the story.
Yeah.
I have only ever
That's
imagined.
not where my brain went, but who knows?
So almost like a stalactite or a stalagmite? Like, is that what you're thinking, or?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that's what pillars of salt looked like. I have Google image now, and I understand.
Yeah. So, but it's like little. It's like it's a wreath, but like little, like
Little
that.
pillars of little salt pillars on them.
Yes.
Is that sharp? How do you carry that around?
It probably is very sharp. It's probably not. I mean, they're giving it to the wreath is given to the person who licked the most salt. So you're the baddest of the bunch.
Yeah, saltiest of the sailors.
I think that's the
Prestige
whole
is not
point of it.
comfortable.
Exactly.
And so the merchant is going to, like, their eyes are drifting as they're trying to remember an appropriate word to use in place of sentimental, and they are going to see the salt wreath. And then immediately they're holding the stone, and they are going to do the most sus thing that they could possibly do and roll the stone between their fingers and then say, now that looks sentimental.
Question for you, out of character.
Yeah.
Is the stone actually sentimental to the shopkeeper, or is he spinning a tale?
I think that this is a fleecing tool. I think that this merchant keeps this around to ID marks and then tries to use it to scam marks.
Mm-hmm. The old salt jewel scam.
Okay.
Scam.
Okay. Caspian says,
Scammy the merchant.
well, I don't know that that's mine to trade, to be honest.
Well, I don't understand what you're even doing up here on top of the crow's nest here. Like, you're the king of a little floating castle. You can't buy fish. You can't trade garbage for garbage. Don't you think you should be maybe below deck somewhere, out of sight and out of mind for everyone?
Almost at a ladder.
Come on, I need quickly, alright? If you want the stone, then I want the little weird things. We're gonna trade weird things for weird things, alright? And if not, go get the captain to make a reasonable deal about some fish, because I got fresh food here and I know you don't have any.
Okay,
What's it gonna be?
Okay. Caspian turns to the sailor in the crow's nest with him and points to the wreath and points to the merchant and can I?
Well, I don't see why not. No one's ever tried before. But you're the salt licking champion. I suppose you could do whatever you want with it.
I really like that voice a lot. Okay. Yeah, and so Caspian will hand over the wreath and say, well, if this is what you want, let's trade.
The merchant flips the turquoise stone into the air for you to catch, like in your direction. They're not trying to make that complicated, but just flicks it into the air to make sure your attention's there while they snatch the wreath and say, "Boy, bring me back!"
I can't believe he actually went for it. I can't believe it.
Keep it quiet. These are return customers.
Yeah.
What a dumb
And
fox.
definitely-
What a roof.
Definitely, as Caspian looks at it, he realizes that it is not. It's turquoise. It is salt. And, well, I hope nobody cared about that reef too much.
There's the other sailor on the deck.
I'm gonna call that.
That was funny.
That was awesome.
I'll do scene. Sure. Meanwhile, in Scraptown, River and River and Harp are on the decks, and I think that I'm like kind of like looking on as so we're below deck, and so it's kind of like the same scene but from a different perspective, where there's just as we're going past, there's all these Scraptown dealers trying to get our attention to trade with us. And I think would it be uncharacteristic, Harp, if maybe you were trying to use this opportunity to maybe trade up on some of the treasures that you had scavenged? You know, like I'm thinking Barleytown probably has a little bit of a barter culture as well. Like, you know how this works.
I'd love to do that.
All right, fantastic.
We've definitely established a little bit of scamming culture in the Barleytown markets too. So Harp would be familiar with people like the previous shopkeep. If that's
right
over here too.
Oh
yeah,
yes,
that's great. I'm into it.
Encounter with them again.
Yeah, and maybe Rob, would you like to be the shopkeep this time?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Sure.
And I'm trying to figure out like what River is kind of like interest is in this scene, and maybe I've seen something that I really want in Harp. You might be trying to help me get it. So I'll try and frame that out. So I think as we're like going past these stalls, somebody actually does have something that catches my eye, and it's oh man, what does River care about? I mean, I'm a golem.
Maybe like different paints from different
jar
places.
of spit.
Right.
Fiber cloth.
Right, totally.
What
I
was
think
that, Marcy?
What's that?
Marcy,
What'd you
what
say,
was
Marcy?
that?
Yeah, what'd you say?
I said
A microfiber cloth. No, I'm thinking it's something that just like, I think it's something from like a long time ago, because my character's very old, and yeah, maybe like some artifact of some kingdom that doesn't even exist anymore. It's just like back when we did back when we battled with the giants. Yeah, I think it's I think I noticed that one of the shopkeepers has this book of giant poems that I recognize. It's like a very famous it's a like this very famous poet, this giant poet, and like kind of before the war, I actually, you know, as I see the shopkeep holding it up, and it has a very distinctive cover. I think giants, because giants live a very long time, their bones are like stone. The things that they write on are designed to like really last a long time. And so it's this book with these kind of like etched kind of like metal plates that's where the binding has with like metal bindings, and it's like a little corroded, but I can tell that it's like the genuine thing. It's like all like green and kind of tarnished and caked with salt. But I see it there's this kind of like bookseller that kind of has these you know, just like crates kind of full of books on their little you know, on their stall, and I notice it, and I just kind of have this flashback to a time long ago, visiting the giants in Ravenhall, kind of before the giant war, and hearing this giant you know, read the poem. Their name was Stone Eater, the poet, and they tell this poem. And giant poems just take a really long time to tell. They're like super ponderous, and they're very slow, and there's like a lot of long spaces of silence in them. And I, as I see this, I kind of like elbow you, because I see you're kind of starting to trade and stuff, and I notice this book. Like, I'm at this point, River is just super, like, up to this point, River just kind of thought this was just foolish human stuff, but then noticing this book, she turns to Harp and says, Harp, could you help me? I need to have that book.
She's like trading this. I was like, hold on, I gotta get this little paper pencil thing. It's a fountain pen, and I read. What was that?
No, that book. Could you get it for me?
Oh, that book. Yeah, it's just I got to get this fountain pen first. Yes. I'll trade you. What you want? You want a sock? How much? What? Okay, you can have this sock. Okay, I'll get this.
The shopkeeper's starting to like put the books back into their like house, like they're starting to close down.
Honey, no. We've got, how about we say, one more.
No, the book shopkeeper, not your shopkeeper.
No, yeah, run over to you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, dear. We have, one more, sale of the day, one more trade of the day, we've only been here.
Focus. That book right there.
That one, that one with the cool cover?
Yes, that's the one. I would very much like to have it. It's very unique. I thought they were all gone.
This kind of reminds me of like the grandson and the grandma. I'm like, I want that one.
Yeah, totally.
Grandma's wallet. Like.
So, time closing it is.
No, but surely we could trade. There's time for one more trade. I simply must have that book that you have there, that one with the copper tarnished plate. Yes.
Keeps mine sharp, yes it does.
Yes. Is there anything here that my friend Harp has that you might be willing to barter for it?
I have a trunk full of goodies that you could like. What do you like, my dear?
No price is too great. I simply must have that book, and as we know, River is very bad at these kinds of things.
Price is too great. Lose smarts if lose book.
Oh, surely there must be something. Anything that Harp has.
My dear, you value the knowledge, don't you? You like to have a big brain and all full of new things and new smarts in your brain, right?
Has big brain because big book.
Yes, a big book. Well,
I would trade big book that give big brain for other book. Or other thing that would give big brain. Already have big brain.
Look at this book here, dear. This is not even a regular book. We've traveled so far, so wide, and we've had so many experiences. You've only been here, I would assume, just selling, trading, and all your goodies. You'd want straight from the source. You have everything that you could find in 7,000 different places, all in this trunk. All the knowledge is found in this my little trunk full of knowledge.
Do you have like some set of encyclopedias from Barleytown or something with you, or okay?
Yeah, I imagine like books and pieces of like scholarly knowledge that is kind of like collected here and there from Barleytown and what's that other town? Like just several places, several towns, kind of like one at a time, collecting it slowly.
So this is something that you've kind of been gathering with you over the course of the journey.
Yeah.
Okay.
You come at time closing and ask for good deal.
Oh, my dear, but we are only here for such a short while. This is why it's so important that we do this deal. You see, the ship is starting to wrap up and get on its merry little way.
Seems like hand is in my favor, yes?
Bad deal hours.
Bad deal hours.
Also, book is in my hands.
Yes, well, you are a trader.
I would accept all scrap as well as books leather bound.
Is that acceptable, Harp? I mean, it's your scrap. I don't want to tell you what to do with it. But,
She looks at her scrap, although it's like a bunch of like random things that are like literally just collected just to have, or like it's shiny. It's like,
okay, but you
Perhaps
put me up here,
could give you some pages.
And she starts to like reach towards some.
no, please don't hurt it. Don't hurt it.
No, yes, you could have the scrap, my dear, and you said a leather-bound book. Is that what you wanted?
Okay, so
Leather bound book, all.
All right, my dear.
she has like a secret compartment. Like she's been like with a wagon, kind of trailing with this trunk of goodies that she's collected in her little like room of the ship, and shoved it in like this crate. And at the bottom of this crate, maybe there's like a little hidden platform where she has like hidden things, like her goods that she carries personally. And she kind of like takes one of the leather-bound books that she's kept, but like puts it in that compartment, but leaves the other books in the view. It's like,
Okay, well, look, I have 3 really great leather-bound books for you, dear, and lots of scraps. So, how about this? We trade that one beautiful, amazing book that you have, oh, so beautiful, for my scrap and my 3 leather books. Yes.
All right, I'm just going to jump ahead to. Yeah,
Oh.
great, fantastic. So we transfer the goods, and
Can I just add one thing as you
sure,
guys are
yes, go ahead.
Glad to give book. Perhaps next time scammed you won't be.
And she just like walks back in with like her cart now that she has, and
Like completely
and
full
all
of
the scrap.
everything. Yeah. All right.
Pours herself a little shot.
And I think I actually say, do not worry. It was we who got the better end of this deal, for this is a rare this rare of a novel. This rare of a book of poems could fetch, easily the price of many of these ships on which we sail in Estalia.
Oh, I would never doubt you, River, would you? It's just a bunch of junk in here. I would just give it all away, dear. I'm glad
Okay.
you got something you wanted.
Cool. And then I think the scene kind of like closes with River kind of like later sitting with the book on the ship and kind of opening it up to the first of the poems, and flashing back to the scene of Stone Eater, the poet of the giants, reciting this poem about the mountains, and how you just kind of like slowly watching a mountain eroding into the sea, as the river kind of carries its body away into the ocean, melting from the glaciers above. And it's a poem that was written to be read over the entirety, from dusk to dawn. And she sits there and is just kind of remembering that experience of hearing this sonorous voice of Stone Eater, describing the sediment being carried off to the ocean while the stars slowly come out, and then seeing the sun rise up, as the mountain is no more, the last of it carried away, and it's now just seen as like a rolling hill. Cool. See.
That's
Nice.
very beautiful. I would like to add a smidge of flavor. You said from to be read from dusk till dawn, or dawn till dusk?
I said dusk till dawn, but whatever.
Dawn. I was kind of imagining, or was River reading that below decks in
Sure.
the quarters?
Sure, yeah.
I just like the idea of, like, in the pane of the window, the reflection of the fire that by color counts the time.
Yeah, totally.
Through, like, red to green to blue and then back.
Yeah, she actually like spends that long reading the poem, like just slowly like looking at one word, then going to the next word. I love that. Cool.
It's awesome.
All right, great. And I think we were close to break time. Is that true? Should we take a
Yeah.
break now?
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So we'll be back at how long of a break should we take? 10 minutes or 15 minutes? What do we normally do?
10
10
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah.
Great. So see everybody back here in 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
welcome back.
Welcome back, everyone.
Hello.
All right, so we just finished with 2 sets of Scrap Town. Now we're back on the ship. Scrap scene.
Jump back on the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think anyone could go next.
Or, of course, move the Magus if you feel.
Announcement first.
Oh, we have an announcement.
Oh, yes. I totally forgot what that was, though. I forgot what the word was. It was like dark heart?
The word is harp.
Harp, sorry.
How dare you forget?
I was only half there.
How dare you forget?
I know, I'm a monster.
So yeah, to win a key to a digital version of the game that we're playing tonight, Fall of Magic by Ross Cowman, type the word harp in chat, and at the end of tonight's show, we will find out who wins. All right, back to the ship.
This is one reason why I kind of like having a set turn order, because otherwise I feel like, especially with this many players, everyone's like, "Oh, should it be me?
Valid.
Okay, so who was last? That was you, Ross?
It was me.
All right.
Yeah, and then who took the second? Do you want to try that out? Do the set turn order?
I think that'd be good.
Okay, cool. So, I'll write down the turn order. I'll just say who's going next. Mercy, you're next.
It was me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was you all along. Yeah, I'll say the order is Mercy, Shaz, Rob, Elish. Ross.
There's a correction that I want to make, but also mutiny is the real correction.
Thank you, Mutiny.
Mutiny. But also afterwards, after the game, let's talk. And there's a funny story about that too, which I would love to tell you at that time.
All right.
I don't even know. Okay.
I don't even know what. Okay.
I mean,
Okay. I will do 2 because I also wanted to put in a little flavor scene that doesn't have like a cue or anything. It's very, very short, I think. And I kind of imagined so what I'm kind of imagining is that there are some shared bunks, and since we haven't established it before, I think for the purpose of this scene, it's just Justice and River share a bunk. And so River has been reading this book from dusk till dawn, and I think close to dawn, Justice wakes up and sees that River is still reading and kind of sits at the edge of her bed as River finishes reading that poem. Mm-hmm. And Justice sees River close the book and says, "So, I've known Elamir for a long time, and I feel there are some things that I understand and am qualified to say, and if I'm wrong in assuming this, I'm sorry, but I do want to make it clear that you owe Harp, right? Do you know
Sure,
that you
sounds
owe Harp?"
great. Yes. Yes, I do know I owe Harp.
Okay, because Harp is absolutely never going to say that. And Harp is exactly the person who would get you that no matter the cost, but the cost was high. And I understand that this is an important book, but Harp still paid a lot for it. And so I just want to make sure it's clear that you owe Harp.
No, thank you very much, Justice. I appreciate that perspective. I sometimes forget how attached humans are to material things, though I did have this inexplicable desire for this. I don't know, it's just there's so much from my past which was gone, seeing a piece of it there. But you're absolutely right, I will think of a way to make it up to Harp.
I think Harp did what she did because she saw how important it was to you, and I don't think there's an ounce of regret there.
Mm-hmm.
But what she gave was valuable, and as long as it's understood, then I'm happy. And I'm good with calling that scene.
Cool. Great.
I wanted to ask, is there something in that, like maybe one of the 3 books or like part of the scrap that was justices or something that is particularly valuable?
I personally don't have any sense of that, but if you wanted to put that in, I'm super, super open to it. I just... yeah, it just felt like fun flavor to add. Like I didn't have a particular logic behind it.
Okay.
Okay, and you want that just to be like a little mini scene, and then you'd like to do a normal scene.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Oh, I like it so much on the ship, but I also like where we're going. I am going to move the Magus to Gritwater.
Nice.
So, at a certain point, as the ship that we are on continues its journey, the tops of the buildings and the drifting trash thin out and are further and further apart until we reach a point on this sea of salt that appears, as far as the eye can see, barren. And now the light is the light. There are no stars at night made from refracted glass and fires lit on rooftops. It's just dark. And after a short time drifting like that, I think that the silence that is observed in the Hanging City during the prayers, and the sense, the ambiance that period of silence gives, begins to descend over the boat. And I think that those of us who are paying close attention, even notice when possible that the sailors, the rag draggers who sail this boat, are speaking to each other through significant hand signals, but also speaking to each other. It's not a sense of that how we have to talk here, more that is how we...
Oh, you cut out for that last bit for me.
What was the last thing you heard me say?
That they speak in gestures, and like it's not a requirement, but...
Yeah, it's not a requirement. It's less a sense that that's how you have to talk here. People do speak to each other. You hear other rag dragger sailors speaking to each other. It's just... It seems more the vibe, you know? Okay. It's very dark. It's very quiet. And one day, at the same time as the sand thrown in the fire starts to turn it red again, which is what I am imagining the daylight color or the morning color of the fire is, there is a light on the horizon, and throughout the day we drift closer to that light, and it becomes firmer in shape, although not brighter. And finally, we get close enough to make out details, and that brightness is a bonfire on a small island and a spiderweb docks going out in all directions from that island that are all lit by torches. And the flickering of the torches is insignificant, almost like an electrical light would be. The fire is almost still, but not quite. Still enough that it keeps drawing your eye to it, but every time you look directly at it, it seems to be moving the way that a fire should, but the light cast around doesn't move the way light cast by fire should. And as soon as the ship is close enough to make out this distinction in the lights, it is noticeable that the sailors begin to talk out loud more to one another again. And there is one of these spiderweb docks that stretches out further than the others, and the ship drifts up beside it. And that is the hospitality of the Pool Crone. Right.
Right.
Cool, thank you.
Alright. Is it my turn to make a scene?
Yes.
Do turn orders. Oh no. Oh no, is that I actually have a lot of ideas for each one, and I'm like, which one?
Which one?
There's so many. Jeez. Okay, whatever. I'm gonna pick Salamander Shell as a call for help, and I want justice in this scene. And Harp has, so we have settled here, I imagine, like, maybe for the first, we slept in like the next morning, and we're getting to familiarize ourselves with our new surroundings, and Harp is watching fishermen hauling like giant nets that are gathering like huge fish size of like a whale almost, and this would be like the equivalent of maybe a little salmon is actually like enormously huge. And Harp is kind of in awe watching them kind of haul together, like, heave ho! And she herself wants the experience of hauling like a fish herself this size. And she calls over to Justice, like, oh, Justice, well, don't you think that this would be some good fun? You and I, we could catch a fish together. We could tell the boys back there, the sailors, and show them what prize we got.
Honestly, I could go for some fresh fish right now.
It'd be quite delicious dinner for tonight. Okay, let's see if we can grab one of the nets down here and haul it over. Oh, Harley, why don't you come over here and give us a little push too, a little pull. And I think
while Harp is like reaching for a net, Justice is gonna turn to Harley and say, "You better put your back into it, all right? I know you like the coast."
He like blows smoke into your face, like through his nostrils, just like.
With both hands, Harper's like, yeah, Justice, you too. Put your back into it, and I just like to imagine, I don't know like what exactly, but I just like to imagine these two kind of struggling with the net, but also with like the biggest smiles on their face, getting splashed with water, and this fish is flipping its tail, splashing water all over us, and Harp is kind of like flinching, like, like so much water, we're getting all wet, and still like holding on to the net for dear life, trying to get this up. Does Justice feel like it's something easy or difficult for what does she feel in this moment?
Justice definitely feels that this is tough. These fish have no business being whale size when they're clearly fish. And there's a thrill to having actually caught one in one of these nets and trying to hoist it up. And I think there's a thrill to like doing hard work that isn't fighting, and to use like the muscles of combat for something else. Yeah.
Harp is like kind of like in the position where she's standing behind Justice, so she's like laughing and smiling as she's watching Justice like struggle with this almost for the first time, using her strength in a different way, like in a new way. It's like, see, these are the kind of skills I need to be teaching you. I just don't get the many chances to do it, but we gotta get us a good old dinner for tonight, huh? And then we haul it over and the fish comes up, flapping on the planks. Harper's kind of like wheezing.
How does Harp feel about how difficult this is and what it's worth?
She is definitely overwhelmed by the thrill and the joy of and the excitement of doing this. But at the same time, when she's resting after, she's definitely feeling the I am getting old. It's not as easy as it used to be, and kind of hits her as she's like struggling to catch her breath, and her arms are feeling like limp noodles. And is Justice at all fatigued, or how does she feel after seeing the fish hauled up?
I think Justice definitely had to use muscles that weren't classically used in this way, and is feeling a tinge of specific fatigues here and there in her body that she's not used to.
I think Harp wants to say to Justice, like, see, sometimes you gotta find the fun little things to keep your mind off the struggle of thinking of taking care of everybody. You do it for yourself, and you find some ways to help others too. See, look at this fish. Yeah, it's such a great time to holiday it with me. Well, I hope. But look at it. We're gonna get a big chunk of this and feed it to all our friends and family. And look at you. You're taking care of them. That's all you need to do.
That's what life's about.
That's what life's about. Sunglasses.
Reese is there beside us, also has helped.
So funny.
And yeah, I think as we're catching our breath and this giant fish is flopping weakly on the dock, Justice is gonna stand up and draw her sword and say, hang on. Is just gonna say, stop telling me how to take care of everyone. We're both good at it. Also, thank you. And is like defiantly, but like play defiantly, just gonna like drive her sword into the spine of the fish before it suffocates on land.
Air.
A warrior's death for the fish.
Yeah.
Battle.
I like to call that scene.
Nice.
Oh my god. I really want to see this anime with like Harp just yelling all the time.
That's what life's about. All of this size of a tower.
The truisms. The mother of truisms, trying to bestow wisdom on justice.
Harp's
Just
got her like
being like-
big old.
I know you're right, but shut up.
Shut up! You're
Wait,
not the
Harp's-
mom of me.
Harp's got her like big old fisherman boots that she's hauled from the sea, the Sea of Salt. It's like, see, I told you these would come in handy.
You're
Awesome.
not my mom.
You're not my
Oh wait, you kind of are.
All right, so we got Rob, then Mutiny, and then me.
Alrighty. I'm actually also going to do the Salamander Shallows.
It's hot.
and yeah, I know. It'll be kind of like happening at a similar time, perhaps when you guys are like bringing the fish back, and Elamira is making her way over to the sort of like the main segment of docks, but has to go through the shallows to get there. And I need justice for this scene. All right.
Does this like remind me of one of those like TV episodes where you've been watching the same show for a while and all of a sudden they just have like an episode that like focuses on one character, and this is like this episode.
This is Justice episode. Actually, it's kind of like Justice and Harp's episode.
Yeah, it's in that relationship.
But yeah, so Elamira is making her way through the shallows, and Justice, you kind of notice that she seems to be struggling, but like trying to not show it as much as possible. But she'll every now and then like catch or like try to pull her foot out of like maybe a thick bit of mud, and it's like suctioned in. And as she pulls out, she reaches forward, but stumbles because she still doesn't have an arm. And she sort of reaches out, and she'll like fall a little bit and like splash in the water. And if she could look embarrassed, she would look very, very embarrassed. And as she passes by Justice, this is all sort of like happening. She doesn't like reach out for help, but sort of just like puts an arm on you for a second, then looks over and smiles and like tries to continue forward.
Where is she going?
She's trying to make her way to like the main set of docks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So walking in towards the center.
Yep.
Okay. So she puts an arm. She puts her one hand.
Yep.
On Justice, and Justice clasps her back by the elbow to like hoist her up a bit. I'm kind of imagining that we are still in the quicksandish salt water, and that's what you're getting bogged down in.
Yep.
So just hoist Elamira up by her elbow until she's like back to the top a little bit, and then dances back on her tiptoes, and like her sword is still out and has a little bit of fish blood on it, and like flicks it at Elamira's face with like the point level at her chin, and says, "You're so clumsy right now. It would almost be embarrassing for me to win." Almost.
The great Justice attacking a cripple.
And Justice is going to say, "Finally, the odds are even," and kick Elamira in the chest. Like, full on parade scrap, like, battle to wow the students, like, kick in the chest, so that Elamira is on her ass, about to sink into the salt.
Yeah, Elamira falls into like sort of like salt water. It's just like not quite buoyant enough that she is starting to like sink into the water. And as this is happening, as like it's sort of like a slow-mo scene in Elamira's like head as the kick hits her in the chest. It's like she remembers all those moments of you previously, through all your ages of life, you've tried this kick a lot, and just like
it finally worked.
And it finally worked. And it's like as like the fall is happening, there's just like flashes of each and every time of Justice bouncing off as the kick happens, and Elamira just
did this in the aggressive darkness scene, didn't we?
Yep.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's a
lovely.
thing. And
Call back.
and Elamira, she hits the water, and the water sort of sprays up in slow motion around her. She smiles a bit as that happens, but reaches out her hand as the water is slowly taking her down.
Justice is in battle stance, waiting for Elamira to bounce back up when the hand comes out, and swaps her sword to the other hand and steps over and pulls Elamira up, and says, "You're usually quick on your feet for stone. You're gonna have to be quick on your feet to get through here. Come on." And then dances back again with her blade out, and is just fully. Justice has trained people on the battlegrounds, and I don't know if that's what Elamira did so much as Elamira was just another comparatively ranked person in the Magus's retinue.
Yep.
But you have definitely seen me teach on the battleground enough to know that Justice has slipped into teacher mode and is trying to use actionable behaviors to get you to move through this scenario.
I don't think this is the time, but I'm noticing something. You have a drive that nobody else I've ever met has. You've been kicking stone since you were a child, and expected it to move every time. You gave it all your effort, and only now it moves. The Magus needs you. River's old, and I'm broken. I see that you always take the leadership role, and you find your way through those hard times, and you kick the stone as much as you need. We can't be there for the Magus as much as we might want to anymore. And perhaps it's time for another.
Justice is going to fancy battle foot, dip under where your arm used to be and then bring herself up under your remaining arm. And prance with you and kind of jostle you, if you're going to resist, jostle you with her shoulders until you're moving fast enough to walk on top of this salt water. And say, you're not, I guess you're broken because you're missing an arm, but you could still kill me with one arm if we weren't here. And I don't know if broken is the right word, but also I like you, and I've always liked you better than the Magus, and this job might not be important to me, and maybe it is. I'm a little unsure, and having you bring this up, okay, you've got a stone body that can withstand anything, and also you're observant and whatever. It's one of the things I like about you, but I'm not unsure that I like you, and that this moment with you on these waters is more important to me than protecting the Magus, and I appreciate what you're trying to do. I don't give a fuck.
She's sort of running along beside you at this point. and I respect your decision. But I know you, and you're not leaving. I'm not asking you to do anything that you don't want to do. But you're still here, and I know you're not going to leave Harp, and I know Harp's not going to leave this quest. I know you're not going to abandon any of us. I'm just asking you to do what you always do. I'm asking you to look out for us. And that just happens to involve the Magus as well.
I'm not gonna... Of course. Yeah, of course. We're all in this... We're all in it together. And, until we all leave together, or until this is done, I'm not going anywhere, and I've just been thinking about what happens after this is done, for better or for worse.
You and me both. And I'm going to call that scene. Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe the real Magus was the friends we made along the way.
Lovely segue into your story.
I would like to do a scene with hello, Fox? Where did you go? I would like to do a scene with River.
Nice.
Oh,
you went to the falls. I was going to go to the falls. I'm so happy
falls. Well, we're both here.
I'm so happy we're here.
Your face in the water.
Yeah, tell me about these falls. What's going on?
I sort of was only half listening when you described the setting. So, can I get a quick recap?
It is a small island, like, barely bigger than the, like, imagine you are stranded at sea cartoon island. Like, it's barely bigger than that. And then it has spider webs of docks and small, like, one-room shacks on the docks, coming out of it in all directions.
Okay.
But we definitely put falls on that small bit of actual island.
On the island or even behind it?
Yeah.
Maybe the island is just at the base of a giant cliff face.
Love it.
Yep. Yeah.
And here, maybe not just at the base, but like a mile or so from it. Like close enough that you can walk, but far enough that it's like, it's not...
Mm-hmm. It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not deafening you, or you have to get to it.
But close enough that there is like a general buzz.
Yeah.
Sound, right? The sound.
Yeah, you can hear it for sure. I think the water coming down from the falls is clear water.
Ooh.
And right at the base of there's is clear water before it runs out into what starts the river or whatever to become the salt sea. The salt mingles as it passes this island. But yeah, if you walk to the falls, you'll get clear water. Is River there first, or is Caspian there first?
River is there when you arrive. You see her kneeling in the clear water, and she is washing her face. She's got like gravel. She's like taking sand actually, and like kind of like scrubbing her face and scrubbing her body down. Mm-hmm. And she's do we wear clothes? Do we have like stone clothes that are just part of us? I say we wear clothes. Like our stone bodies are just like bodies, and then we have clothes on. So I don't have them on now, and I'm kind of like waist deep in the river, and I'm just kind of like bending over and kind of hunching over and scrubbing myself.
Caspian walks up and notices River there,
Oh, Caspian, is that you?
Yes.
And I turn to face you, and my face has actually been washed off right now. I don't have any eyes right now. I guess I still have a mouth, but I don't have any eyes right now. I can recognize by how quietly you walk. Everyone else here is so loud.
But you still hear me.
Faintly. Yes, it's very faint. You're a sneaky fox, don't worry.
That is the goal. My mother always taught me, light on your feet.
Yes. That is good advice, especially for a fox.
Caspian walks up. He takes a tentative step forward, and do you mind if I join you?
Oh, no. Yes, I'm just trying to get some of this grit off of me. It's, I couldn't wait any longer.
Understandable.
Your fur must be positively caked by now.
Yes. It is not a pleasant feeling. And Caspian will shed his cloak, and I don't know what a fox wears, but he will get in the water with you.
Mm-hmm.
And as Caspian washes, he looks down into the water and looks at his reflection and looks at your reflection,
mm-hmm.
and he says, "What is it like to live so many generations and yet only live once at the same time?"
Yes, it's sad. Truly, it's sad sometimes. I didn't realize what that feeling was until I described it to the Magus one day, and she laughed and said, "Oh, you're feeling sad, River." But we there have been some constants. The Magus has been here. And, for the last 100 or so years, there's been Elamura. It's just everyone else seems to be moving so quickly. And, I think I might be ready to stop sometime soon. Maybe, like so many things I've seen pass, maybe it's time for me to pass, too.
Is that a choice that you make consciously?
That's a good question. Maybe it's a choice that I make, or perhaps it's just. Does the mountain choose to be eroded by the river? One can't help but resist these natural forces.
I used to think that it was not a conscious choice until we met the other foxes. And now I'm not so sure.
How about you, Caspian? How does it feel to live so quickly and have only one life?
It doesn't feel quick at all. I feel like a lifetime has passed since we first departed on this journey, and even longer since I last saw my mother. Everything moves slowly, I guess, when time doesn't feel like it lasts forever.
And I think River laughs a bit, or chuckles rather, and it's kind of the sound that the wind makes when it whistles over rocks. And it takes a moment to realize that it is laughter. And River says, "Listen to the two of us. Perhaps it is that each of us is just given the same amount of life Only mine has been stretched very thin, and yours is very thick.
I suppose so. Have you noticed that something is wrong here?
That's a great question.
Caspian changes the subject.
River noticed. Has the Magus noticed?
I think Caspian has noticed that every so often, because he's been looking out for it, he's noticed that every so often someone will act strange. Like every so often, someone is realizing something is wrong. So like Justice has given a little bit of an odd vibe here and there, and maybe one of the sailors even has given an odd vibe here and there.
Awesome. So like sudden mood shift.
Just like glitches. And
Yeah.
only because Caspian is looking for them, he can see them.
So River has definitely noticed that something is wrong here, and so has the Magus. Though I don't think the Magus has let on to the rest of us.
No,
but,
no one else seems to have.
right, totally. But River gets like deadly serious all of a sudden, and turns towards you and like moves really closely and kind of like puts and says, "Here, let me help you wash your back." And kind of gets close to you as they're kind of like scrubbing your back a little bit. It says, "Be very quiet." And like we sort of see like River's kind of like eyeless face kind of get close to you and just like whisper in your ear. And it's like, "They're watching us." And like, as you like look up, you can kind of like suddenly realize that the clouds and like the swirls of the smoke kind of like resolve into this like giant eye of some sorcerer that's like peering in at us right now that we didn't that like we sort of just like mistook for just like a pattern in the clouds.
Caspian watches this, just going with the prompt, Caspian watches this in the water, so he doesn't even look up, he's looking down, and looking at our faces, and then looking beyond and sees that reflection of that eye in the water. And quietly whispers back, "What are we supposed to do?"
I think the Magus has a plan. And there, all clean now.
Thank you.
Like steps back. Oh, she says, "I think the Magus has a plan, but we can't let them know we know," something like that.
Yeah. Caspian
Just acts like
takes a
normal.
step back and says, and turns back to River and says, "Thank you. I trust that whatever you know is the right thing about my back."
Nice save.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Cool.
Scene.
All right, so we are nearing the end of our time. Let's go ahead and move to debrief and then end our session. Sound good?
Alrighty.
Yep.
All right. So yeah, the debrief is just a place to share either, we'll take turns and try and let each person kind of have their moment to share whatever it is they feel like. And let's, I just recommend sharing either like, an emotion you experienced, something that felt challenging, an appreciation of another player, something you enjoyed particularly. So anyone can go first.
I would like to start and say my appreciation for Marcy and the scenes that we were able to create together, because I think definitely like the session, I picked a lot of scenes that you were in, and I really wanted to cultivate that relationship that we have, like see what Harp and Justice and how they feel about each other and the things that they do together, their interactions. So your camera's also frozen, so it's very hard to see like a frozen image.
For me, Mercy's camera is good, but
Oh, no,
it's very
she
funny.
froze for me. She's just with the beer can.
That's how I want to remember her forever.
Okay, so we've played with that a little bit in this session, and I just want to double check that, like, for me, that was something that I was really left with in the last session, is feeling like there's a lot to be explored in Harp and Justice's relationship, which is why I tacked that way this session. And it feels like you are feeling the same way, and that is working for you too.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, I wanted to have that kind of like a session to really explore our relationship, and it also brings in like our past too, so it helps kind of figure out who our characters are. And I think that is really important for both of us.
Yeah, we definitely have that, like, history together. Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. It felt like it was definitely important to Justice, and also I was hoping important to Harp too, based on the previous session. So I'm glad to know that was something that both of us as players and our characters are benefiting from, because everything that happened before, I was like, all right, well, this is important for Justice, and that's what I have to roll with.
Yeah.
My appreciation will be for Shaz, because as our sessions have gone on and you've become more comfortable with doing scenes, you have taken. This is sort of, we talked about this last time as well, but you've taken the initiative to do a lot of the first scenes and do them really well. You embrace like the pure aspect of like, just this is improv, and you just jump right into it, and it's really cool to see that. And a lot of your scenes were just like such driving forces. Like, I know for myself, it was I bounced off like a lot of your ideas, as well as a couple other people as well, but it helped me formulate my scenes, which was really fun. Thank you.
I appreciate your words. Sometimes I feel like I'm either like interrupting people's ideas, and I'm just personally trying to get over that. So thank you.
I would love to say one right now. My moment that I really appreciated in this session was Ross making a firm decision on direction, with the eye in the sky and the people watching us. This has been a really fun game about being exploratory and playing off of each other's ideas in a way that I didn't know was possible with Fall of Magic. And having a moment that was also like, okay, but we are also writing a drama, so let's bring the heat back in a little. And just the confidence and the confidence of it being pulled together from things that we had all previously discussed, that we have all built together, and having it be a moment of, all right, we're going to bring the heat back, but we know this is already heat that everyone agrees on, and it's appropriate. And just, like, giving that kind of, like, shocking moment that you would get from watching a TV show that's harder to do in a role-playing game that you're trying to make sure everyone has equal investment in and is equally comfortable with. Like, that was just a really great moment of, like, everyone is already confirmed on board with this plan. Everyone is already comfortable with this plan. Everyone already agrees on the setting, and so now we're gonna like, bam,
Stab.
prod the cow iron. That's not how that sentence works. Any of those. But yeah, that was it for me. Is like seeing that escalation and that reassertment of what the stakes are in a way that confirms what everyone's already agreed on and plays within the bounds of what everyone's already agreed on. Like there's a lot of levels to why that ramping up was really good, and so I love that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Either me or Mutiny.
I don't know if I have a specific shout out.
It doesn't have to be a shout out. You can also just do something you enjoyed, or a moment of silence, or how you're feeling right now. It's like a checkout, basically.
I mean, I appreciate all of you, and I love playing this game with you guys. Yeah, today was fun. I don't know. I'm sorry. My ADHD brain is broken today.
You did great. That was a perfect.
Very effective ADHD.
Yeah, I can't pick out a moment or a person, but I do. I appreciate playing with all of you, and I feel very comfortable with all of you, which is great.
And we appreciate playing with you too.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, just like how you're feeling right now, or even nothing, is like totally acceptable checkouts. It's just, yeah. So you did great. Yeah, my checkout is, I just really loved the. There's like a lot of good scenes and like vibes that I enjoyed. Oops, I was trying to scroll and accidentally opened InDesign. But I, in particular, Scraptown just like really like painted this picture in my imagination of like these just being beset upon on all sides by people with all their like jankety wares that they're trying to sell us, and I just like really loved Marcy being your like apprentice merchant, your ladder boy, and yeah, just like the two scenes at Scraptown and like the kind of picture that I painted of that was just like really, really satisfying and kind of a sequence that I enjoyed quite a bit. Cool. So that concludes this session, and I think Ray, you want to take it away for a moment?
Thank you very much. Hi guys, I'm back.
Hey, Ray.
Hi, Ray.
I was waiting in the wings the entire time, and of course, I appreciate all of you coming together to bring this story to life and to give us all the chance to witness it. It's been really, really incredible to watch this story build. And I'm watching all these characters develop. Improv like this and storytelling like this, sorry, is literally a form of art. And the simple fact that you guys seem to make it flow so easily, I mean, it just speaks volumes about how well this story has come together and how well you've come together as a small community to make it. And so I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for being here. We had a very odd thing happen. We tried to do a contest to give away a key, and no one typed the keyword in chat.
Well, next time.
Yeah. So what we'll do is we will hold it for next time, and we will be back in 2 weeks with the lab experiments in gaming, and we will go ahead and be doing the next episode of Fall of Magic, and after that, I don't know how many more episodes we're gonna have of Fall of Magic.
I think it's a fair bet we have at least 2 at the rate we've been going.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking. 2 to 3.
2 or 3.
Yeah. So we're gonna continue until we reach the end and find out what happens with the Magus. And when we get there, it's going to be kind of amazing.
I'm excited. I'm really excited.
So, in the meantime, thank you all very much for listening and watching. We really appreciate all our viewers. If you want to support us, subscriptions are the easiest way to do it. If you subscribe to us, remember, if you have Amazon Prime, which a lot of us do, you have a free subscription to give, and we would gladly accept it. Every single dime we make, because we're a very small stream, but every single dime we make goes towards paying for hosting costs, paying for equipment, paying for everything that keeps the situation, the show going. So if you want to donate, or if you want to contribute in any way, shape, or form, we have Patreon, we have everything else. You can find all of our information in our link tree. Did I spell Linktree wrong? Because I'm not very bright. Yes, I did. You can find all information in our Linktree. Once again, everyone has been amazing. So thank you very much to Rob, who has, by the way, everyone, joined us on social media. So Rob has a TikTok. It is blessed_calm on TikTok. He has not yet posted anything, but I did tag him in their TikTok post today.
Oh my god! Wow.
So Rob, you have officially been mentioned on social media too.
Rock boy into a techno boy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And
Rob,
if you guys want to,
when we can hang out in person, we're
Yes.
TikTok and cosplays together.
Yes.
I
That will be my content. That's all it
I
is.
will break my no cosplay, not really rule, I just don't have stuff to wear. But I will delve into cosplay if it's with the two of you.
you know what, Marcy, I have seen your wardrobe, and there is a new trend in cosplay that I think you would fucking kill at. It's called closet cosplay, where you just make cosplays out of things in your closet.
Oh, that's lovely.
And I think that you would freaking kill at that, because your sense of style and literally your wardrobe would make it just like deadly.
Closet cosplay is the reason that I can't get rid of anything. I'm like, oh, I haven't worn this in 2 years, but it would be so good for a closet cosplay.
My issue with the closet, my issue with it is that it was only this Halloween when I was shopping for a Lydia Dietz costume. This is the first time that I ever was like, oh, I'm AMAB and I'm non-binary, so I'm looking for gender-neutral clothes. Shopping to be Lydia Dietz was the first time I ever shopped in the women's section, which is the only time that I've ever found out that there's clothes that I like to wear. So my closet, you've already seen all of it. I've got 5 pieces. And it's been a quarantine, but when this is over...
Get
We're
ready.
getting there.
Get ready.
So what
are
you're
getting
saying is
there.
you're taking me shopping. I want to go as well. There's so many things in the ladies section. I'm like, these are amazing.
Okay, so let's go.
Yeah.
I'll show you guys the ladies section. You guys show me the men's section.
Closet cosplay. Got it.
This is what they mean when they say T for T. It's showing each other how to shop.
There you go.
And by the way, speaking of showing people stuff, Mutiny has a TikTok as well. And I can't spell it. My God, I'm horrible. Oh, by the way, my ADHD diagnosis finally came in, and I have got my Adderall. So, so there's a small victory for that, because my spelling is horrible, my typing is crazy, and I really just want to be able to focus for once in my life. So hopefully that'll happen
one
now.
suggestion for you: make your list of things that you need to do today before it hits. Okay,
Gotcha.
That's all I have to say. Because if you take it and then it hits and you haven't come up with a plan for the day, you are just going to be really vibed up procrastinating.
God, yes.
Yeah, I'm already on Wellbutrin, which is a little bit of that, but the Adderall is in addition too, because it hasn't given me the level of focus that my psychiatrist wanted.
No, you really need to know what you're going to do before you take it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, good news
And
is
start doing it in that first hour before it kicks in. Or else you are literally going to sit there buzzing.
Yeah, the good news is I'm going to be running D&D all day tomorrow. So,
Ooh.
And
Good.
if you guys want to follow Shaz, she is actually here on Twitch, and she can provide you with content there, and she is. Your school is over? Yes.
Technically yes, technically no. Summer school.
Summer school. Oh man. But yeah, you'll
I'm
still be
always
able to
on
do
the grind.
hopefully you'll be able to do some streaming in between trying to finish off summer school and maybe get some content out there for folks, and we will be there supporting you for that as well.
Thank
Well,
you.
in between school and crushing sets.
Oh yeah, literally.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Endless. All day.
You got to get those gains in, you know.
Yep.
I know all about it. So, and of course, Ross, you have an amazing company. You guys are so incredible. If you guys, Heart of Deernicorn is an amazing company. Their work ethic and the quality of product they put out, while still being conscientious of, you know, respecting their employees and creating a wonderful work environment, you couldn't ask for a better company to purchase from. And their games are amazing. So if you can give them support, we send them love as much often as we can. No problem. But for now, I think we're going to let everyone get the heck out of here. And we're going to go take our little love fest and we're going to send it somewhere else. Let me check something. Yes. So tonight we're going to raid someone on my choice, because some of our other Dinner and Game cast members, actually I think it's only Sphinx. Sphinx Akasha is on a new show that is also on Friday nights, but later. It's on a person. Someone's called. Her name is Alex. And Alex Baum is her Twitch handle, and they are streaming a D&D game, which is also running with crowd content, which means the audience can affect the gameplay. So we're gonna go raid them, and you guys make sure you let them know Dinner and Game sent you. Give the channel a follow. We're all small creators here. Any likes, follows they get just helps their content get out there, and it helps the algorithm get them out to more people. So do what you can to help them out, and we love you all so much. It has been an amazing night, and I cannot wait for 2 weeks when we come back with the Lab Experiments in Gaming, playing Fall of Magic with the amazing Ross Cowman. So, guys, we will see you guys in 2 weeks here, and we'll see you on Wednesday for Kingdoms of Mist, and next Friday for Dinner Conversations. Have a good weekend.
Yay, we're down.
Let me stop everything.